Hi guys, today is something different. I collected a lot of stuff in the last years and I have some oddities and strange components, both Western and Soviet. And this is the first of a series that when I found something that is interesting or a curiosity or looks funny or different, I will make a video for that. So this is the first one where I will show you mostly Soviet components, vintage Soviet components and some Western components that look nothing like that we know today. So let's start. This is just for later. Let's start with this guy. This guy looks like a little robot. And no, it is not a Dalek from a BBC series Doctor Who from the 60s and 70s. This thing is a high voltage, high current relay. Look at that. The contacts. It is for 10 amps, 3 kilovolts. The coil is, I think, 28 volts. It is from the former Soviet Union. It says OTK. That means that it is, this is the military stamp, or military grade stamp, let's say so. And it is from 1983. Honestly, I didn't have any use for that, but only for the looks I had to have it. I have a few of them. Look how interesting this thing looks. The big contacts, and this thing moves. I had to have it. Next thing is this. Doesn't that look great? Look at that. Look at this craftsmanship. And it is at least gold-plated inside. This is a crystal, a high accuracy former Soviet Union crystal for 5 megahertz. It's from 1974. Look how it looks. It looks like a tube, vacuum tube. You see the substrate, the glass substrate, and the 2 electrodes inside. To be honest, you see the springs that it is stabilizing the quartz, the crystal. Really interesting. Again, I have no use of that. I just like it. This is how it looks on the bottom. I find it interesting, really interesting. This is the next bad boy. This thing is a solid state infrared pulsed laser diode from a rangefinder, military rangefinder. It's used in medical equipment too. This one is a 4-watt infrared, 875 nanometers wavelength, and it can put out pulsed up to 4 watt. 4 watts. Unfortunately, this one has left a limp in the battle, but it's still usable because I can solder it. This thing is really huge. You see it on my finger, on the size how my fingers are and how big this laser diode is. This is the 101 for 4 watt. And here we come to the 102. This one looks quite similar. There is no big difference from the size, except of the crystal perhaps. This one is completely new. This is a 14 watt pulsed infrared laser. Again, 875 nanometers. And now we have the Big Bertha. This is the 14, I don't know how to call it, LPI 14. Look at this thing. This is the original packaging. Look at the size of that thing. Look at this size in comparison to the 101. Wow. Again, for a military rangefinder, for tanks. Quite a lot of power capable. This thing is capable of outputting pulsed again 30 watts. Infrared, 875 nanometers. It's a little bit difficult to keep it. Let's see if you can focus it better to show you how it looks. It's shiny and it's quite difficult. Again, OTK, that means that's the military mark. And this is how the crystal look inside. I will show you at the end of the video how it does look inside when it is open. This is a beautiful thing and heavy. Wow. To be honest, pulsed or not, I have no intention being in front of that when this thing fires. Just a small comparison about the size of these two things. Wow. And now, some more interesting vintage Soviet goodies. These are hybrid logical ICs. It's from the 70s, 76. You see the date code. The good thing on all the former Soviet components is that every single one has a date code on it, even the resistors. These are diodes. Wow. Quite big ones. These packages are all the same and all are RS type flip-flops, hybrids. I will show them to you how they look opened on pictures, of course. This one that has pins around it, it is an array of 6 diodes, that's all. And they use it probably for a wired OR or something like that. This is probably, this is not military, or I don't think it is military. It is a card of a larger computer system of this in the 70s. But look at these ICs. Western ICs didn't look like that in the 70s, yeah. And we have this board. These boards, I bought them just for fun because I like them. I like how they look, and this one in particular has an history. It reminds me, when I was a child in Greece, I was in the 70s, that's from 76, that I was 11 years old, yeah. In summer, every summer, Polish tourists came to Thessaloniki, to Greece, to make vacation. And they always brought electronics or tools or things to sell, interesting stuff that we didn't have at that time. In 1 year, I don't know, it was 76, 75, I don't know, these families came again and brought with them toys. And one of the toys was an RC car, remote-controlled car. Yeah, from that time, of course, yeah. It has a remote control with a wheel on it for left, right, and a lever for fast, slow. And my father at that time gave me some money to, if I find something, to buy it for me, because at that time I was the Einstein of the family, yeah. And I liked it and I bought it. I played with it a lot, and then suddenly it stopped working. Of course, I thought, hey, I can repair it, no problem at all. So I opened both the remote control and the car itself. The remote control, I don't know, it wasn't very interesting what was inside, but the car itself had germanium transistors like that and a lot of coils that were adjustable. Of course, I detuned everything, yeah. I took a screwdriver and I thought, yeah, by turning the coils I will repair it. Yeah, wasn't like that, yeah. Of course, the RC car never worked again. But I was fascinated from this kind of transistors, germanium transistors. They reminded me UFOs, unmanned flying objects or unknown flying objects. And it reminded me of a series in TV, it was called UFO from the 70s. And since then, every time when I see this kind of funny looking transistors, it reminds me of that time when I was a child and of the series UFO. I don't know why they did it like that. At that time, you had cases like TO39, etc., or plastic molded ones, transistors. But this one is typically Soviet. This too is a PCB, probably from the same appliance that this comes, probably from a larger computer system. And now something a little bit more modern. Yeah, well, modern. 80s again. You see the date code, 88. This is a PPI. It's called PPI, PIP. It's a programmable interface controller. It's a clone of the 8255, a Soviet clone. You see, CCCP. And there you have something really interesting. This thing is an 8086 processor, a clone, of course, a Soviet clone. Look at this thing. It looks like a piece of chocolate bar that you can break it and eat a piece like that. Again, all these things, I don't know why I have that problems now at the moment. Yeah, that's better. 8086, it's from 1989. A Soviet clone of a 16-bit microprocessor for the first XT computers. Beautiful, I like it. Honestly, I like it. I don't know why they did it like that, why they make it look like chocolate. And then we have this one, it's an EEPROM. Great looking, honestly. Gold-plated pins, ceramic package. It's in 2708. It's a 1K by 8 bits. Very old, one of the first ones. That's from 86. Okay, the right one is a 2716. It's a 2K by 8, but this is a Western one. But look, doesn't that look beautiful? I don't know. I'm fascinated with these things. Wow. Look at that. I remember in the 80s, when I was working for Perkin-Elmer and industrial computers, every time that we had to change the firmware or the software of a standalone computer, we had 2 cards with, I think, 32 EEPROMs or 36 EEPROMs in each card, and every single of them had to be changed, had to be removed, and the new ones placed in the sockets, and this was the upgrade of the firmware. The old ones had to be deleted with an UV light. We had many of them, and each one programmed. That took a lot of time. Honestly, I'm not sad that these times were gone, because they were awful. It took hours and hours to just upgrade a few standalone industrial computers. Look at that. And now, some Western funny looking electronics or odd looking electronics. Who knows a company called Ferranti? It was a company that was making a lot for the military, for the Air Force, for the British Air Force, and this in particular, it is from 1971. Look at that. Wow. I was 11 years at that time. 11 years old. Again, I will show you how it, as a data sheet, what I have. It is a CV 5225. It's a high voltage rectifier. I think 10 kilovolts constant CW for 40 milliamps. And of course, made in Scotland, in Dundee. Let's look what is inside. This is how it looks. All this vintage stuff looked so pretty at that time. It was such a craftsmanship. This is some completely very, very strong, silver plated. Look how big this diode is. For just a 10 kilovolt, 12 kilovolt diode for 40 milliamps. And it's, you can screw it somewhere inside. It's for the military, and it was for the, I don't know, for a jet at that time. I don't know the name of it. Very, very interesting. And it came like that. Imagine how much this costed. Made in Scotland. Unfortunately, a historic company, a traditional company, doesn't exist anymore. Quite some time. Bad, bad. And now, look at that bad boy. This is an US-made crystal for 81.94 kilohertz. It's huge. Look at that. It even has its own socket for that. It's the biggest crystal I ever saw or I ever owned. Of course, this thing was bought from eBay just for the fun. Look, the difference. I never saw something like that in this size, and unfortunately, there is no date code. They never put a date code. Is it a date code? 55? Yeah, it's a date code. It seems to be a date code. It's from 1955. Wow. This thing is old. Boy. Huge. I like it. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And last but not least, I have this curiosity. Have you ever seen something like that? If yes, please leave a comment. Look at that. It is a liquid-cooled heatsink for just one TO3 style transistor. This is a MOSFET that it has. I never seen like that, something like that, just for one transistor. Look how thick the copper is. It's heavy and completely liquid cooled. I had to have it just for the fun of it. I don't know. It never stops amazing me how specific components were made, how they looked, and how they were interested in any expense. This is not cheap, just for one transistor. Who knows for what this thing was used? So guys, I hope you liked this video. Something different this time. When I have interesting things, curious things, I will make a video again to match this series. If you like my videos, please push the like button and please subscribe. This will help me and my channel to grow and to be able to show you more of these funny things. I have a lot of this curiosity stuff, and I have a lot of curiosity tubes, vacuum tubes. This will be one of my next videos. You will see what craftsmanship there was many years ago, even back in the days of the Second War. Okay, guys, thank you for watching. Hope you liked my video. Cheers!